Hi, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge. Today we're going to take a look at the Ganzo 733. A unique face on this thing. It looks a bit like a dinosaur, doesn't it? Or if there was wings coming out this way towards you and towards me, you'd think it's a prehistoric bird flying by. I don't know why. I like to think of those kinds of things as I look at a knife and play with it. A knife is much more than just a tool to me. It's a collector's item that gives me much enjoyment. And not just enjoyment on a serious scale. I like to play with my knives. So here we go. The G733 with 440C steel with a nice sheep foot on the front and a big hole for your thumb to open and close this knife. I have to get in the right mood for flicking open this knife. There you go. Let's come over to the desktop and take a good look at this thing. Let's start at the blade. This knife has got 3 1/4 inches of cutting surface, and Ganzo's done a really nice job. I really like it when they put the sharpener's choil on here. It does make a significant difference when it comes time to sharpen it, so that you don't get a lot of weird marks on the edge of your steel by the end of the cutting edge. The nice drop and then another bump and the next drop point, the sort of sheep's foot with a big belly. It's a nice looking knife with some nice gentle jimping back there. Your hand looks really good this way. And when you look at this 50-50 choil, 50% on the handle, 50% on the blade, you sneak up with your index finger, and now you can cut the fine stuff really well, and it's very easy to do. The knife looks good when it's closed. You just take your thumb and give it a flick, and you can open the knife that way. I do better when I've got it just right and a tiny bit of wrist action, and it makes the knife open up just fine for me with one hand. Their version of the axis lock is quite robust. Some people say there's too much tension on them. It does take a little bit to get used to the axis lock. Whenever I get a brand new Ganzo with the axis lock, or any of the other brands of these wonderful Chinese knives that use the axis lock, I do about 50, 60 of these. It takes less than a minute. And I don't know what it does, but it helps train the spring for the axis lock to just behave nicely and be able to open the knife. See, if you just pull back on the axis lock and give it a flick of the wrist, you can open the knife like that. I've got on this one, I've got a brass washer on this side and a white plastic washer, nylon, Teflon, I don't know what they use on the other side. Together, it swings really well. So there's the stonewash I forgot to mention, and the fact that it's a full flat grind on both sides there. With that belly there, it makes really good, easy job for slicing. Food prep with this knife, if you're out camping, is easy. You've got a lot of room to rock this blade, to do whatever kind of chopping tasks you need to do. When you're making your fire, you can cinch up on the knife like this and make your feather stick. It's a great little blade. I really like this knife. The first time I saw it and looked at it, I said, oh, that looks odd. I thought it'd just be too much in orange for my personal taste, although I really like orange. I've got a lot of knives that have orange scales on them. So I got the green ones with the green G10. It's got a really nice texture to it. I like what Ganzo's done with some of their other knives and created all kinds of weird texture in there. So if they do a revision on this knife, I hope they, put that kind of stuff in these scales. But this nice simple scale, it works really well. It's comfortable in the hand, and those are more important than how decorative the scales look. The nice choil here, your hand has a lot of security. not just your one finger. So that's why this knife is probably very comfortable for the many different sizes of hands, because it doesn't have a distinct size for where your fingers, a distinct spot for where your fingers must lie. Nice little swell here, and then a little tail section there to keep your hand in. So this knife sits like that for me. Great big lanyard hole and tail sticking out, and lots of comfort, lots of good purchase. This knife's not coming loose, and then you've got the option, as I showed you at the beginning, up there. The scales are not skeletonized, so that helps keep the weight at a little higher than it really needs to be. Keeps the cost of manufacturing down a little bit. I'm so glad that they didn't skimp on the pillars. I like pillars that have the decorative element to them. And see, these pillars have those little steps instead of just being a straight bar like the stop pin is down there. And it's a nice, good size stop pin. All right, we're blowing through this review, aren't we? It's not a deep carry knife. Okay, so yeah, the lanyard hole is generous, and it's going to keep your lanyard safe from this cutting edge, although it comes close. The detent is nice to keep the knife in, and that's to do with the springs on the axis lock. The centering of the blade is wunderbar, very nice, showing some of my Germanic heritage with butchering some German. Nice little round end to the clip there. Nice and tight clip. It works really well in the pocket. The shape's just kind of cool. I like this tip up in the pocket. It's a little bit big. I find that when I first started getting knives that had this bigger bulge with the round circle in them by whatever manufacturer that makes them, I had to get used to having the knife, sticking out that way, because I'm much more used to a knife that, has that kind of general shape, where it's got the back and then it's got the blade side, and both sides are relatively straight, and you just pull it out of your pocket. Because sometimes things can touch this part of the knife when they're in your pocket, and it's really not a big deal. I don't know why I'm going on about it. I just had to get used to the shape. So if you have not had this shape or style of knife before, just be aware that it might take a little bit of getting used to this knife in your pocket. So right and left tip up carry. Easy to open this knife either by using the hole to start it, or you can just pull back on the axis lock, as I said before, and open it. Right and left carry. There's absolutely no hot spots. Easy to hold, easy to close. This knife, you just pull back on the axis and close it. I'm just not good at it with my left hand. Beautiful knife. You can get it in the black G10, the orange G10, or this green. I hope they release it with wood scales or carbon fiber scales. If you drew a quality line that was equal with the price line, then it wouldn't fit for the Ganzo, because for the price, this thing is many, many, many times the quality of other knives at the same price point. You will use it. You will like it. I can almost guarantee it. Of course, I don't know absolutely everyone and their likes, but Ganzo makes so many different types and so many different styles. And then while you're at it in the Chinese market, check out some of the other brands as well. There's some really good knives coming out of China these days. There you have it, the Ganzo 733. Use it to always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye now.